Let's start the second hour with a topic we haven't really talked about at all this week because obviously it's Oregon Penn State week.
It's a pretty big week.
Oregon State has a football game tonight.
We are the pregame show. Technically, kind of a pregame show. Leading you into kickoff, 7:30 tonight.
There is no other local option. So, yeah, you're right. We are the pregame show.
Just hanging out, pregame in the Beavs.
They're hosting Houston, and they're anywhere from 13.5 to 14-point underdogs at home. And, you know, it's a weird place right now, right? Like, we've been pretty honest and open about how we feel. I know I have, I don't think that guy's the coach, and you should care about your future and not go into a new-made conference by you being middle of the road in that conference. I think that's a weird look. Haven't been very happy with the athletic director, and I tend to think the attendance tonight is going to be absolutely horrific because it's a Friday Night Lights for a lot of people with their kids in high school football.
Yep.
It's a late kick. You kind of ruin the start of your Saturday by getting home at 1 a.m. Anyways, I digress. The other side of the argument for people is, just looking for them to show up. Show some heart. And I'm like, cool. Can you show heart and lose by 20? Because that won't make me feel better.
No.
But here we are. It's a Friday night game. Look, I will come in Monday and tell you I'm pleasantly surprised, but I don't believe Trent Bray is coaching for his job this weekend, even if they lose as a 2-touchdown underdog at home to Houston. I think the athletic director, I don't know how much he's paying attention to anything.
Yeah.
So it's a big game. But it's not a big game because they're not a very good football team, but you don't want to see them get smoked at home. What, man? I'm trying to be honest here.
You're just going through all your thoughts. I like it.
Well,
There's a lot going on. There's a lot rattling around up there.
Ever give some kind of pushback to a duck
you.
take, and I'm some massive beef honk who has no objectivity.
Such a Beaver homer.
But then I'm like brutally honest on Oregon State, and I can never win in this situation.
Such a duck honk over there, dude. Why don't you just quit your fandom, all right? Look, I think you encapsulated it pretty well. I don't know how I would feel going into the game tonight. Let me at least try and put a spin on it for you. Not positive or anything like that. But in terms of what to expect tonight, I think they legitimately have played, it's not even a debate. They've already played the two hardest games on their schedule, and they happen to be the last 2 weeks of the season. Texas Tech looks like the front runner in the Big 12. Will they win it? I don't know, but they would be my pick, and I think everybody else's pick to win that conference right now. They just went on the road and smoked Utah the week after they dominated you. I think Texas Tech is a playoff caliber team. I think Oregon is one of the most talented rosters in all of college football. Do they win this weekend? Do they win the Big Ten? I don't know, but that's a playoff caliber team and one of the most talented rosters in college football. You've gotten those out of the way, and I kind of said this going into the year that I don't know if we're going to learn anything about Oregon State in those 2 weeks because they are so overmatched in terms of talent. Now, it might end up proving that they are overmatched in every game that they play because they did also lose at home to Fresno State despite dominating some of the statistical categories in that game. That's at least the one thing that I'll put a spin on for tonight's game. Like, Houston's good. Connor Wegman's been solid. He ran all over Colorado a couple of weeks ago when they played. Like, that's a decent team. I think they're better than they've been in years past, and they're going to be feisty tonight. I'm not expecting an Oregon State win, but you're not playing a team that has insurmountable talent over you like you have the last 2 weeks. So that's the only silver lining that I could put on the game tonight. I have rolled my eyes and chuckled at the Trent Bray, we just got to bottle up what we did there in the first half, like when Oregon blew a couple of defensive assignments and forgot what they were doing for a drive. You thought that was some indicator of you finding an identity on offense, when in reality, outside of one drive, you had 3 first downs the entire game. And if that drive happens at the end of the third quarter when the game's 31-0, or in the fourth quarter in garbage time, nobody is saying we need to take that, bottle it up, and build it into this Friday. So I don't know if you have found anything offensively. It was the worst you've looked on that side of the ball this past weekend. I guess Texas Tech was pretty ugly too. But the best news that you have going for you is that your team that you're playing tonight is nowhere near talent-wise the last two that you've played.
You're going to think this is funny because the final score would not indicate a real difference here. I actually think Texas Tech was far and away the worst they've looked all season.
Yeah, I mean, it's 45-0.
There was no effort. There
yeah.
was no fight. They couldn't do anything. They didn't execute clock management properly. I mean, it was... And every game has been a disaster in some ways, right? Special teams,
yes.
Stupid mistakes in week one, inability to stop a can't really throw it, somewhat mobile quarterback, Fresno State guy at home. Texas Tech, you completely didn't care. And Oregon, you showed a little something, and then you got bludgeoned. So, we can pick and choose, I guess, different moments all we want. I think what's interesting to me, you get a win, like, okay.
They're going to jump up and get somebody, and we're going to come in and say, wow, I didn't see that coming. I don't know if it's tonight, but
is there a team on the roster, if it's not tonight, that they jump and get, and you go, wow, I didn't see it coming? Because the only other team on that schedule you'd point to is Wake Forest. Lafayette, no. Sam Houston, no. Washington State, no. And you could say Washington State, it looks much better right now based on what they did, and I won't argue that. I'm just saying, after tonight, they don't have a game that they win and they jump off and say, oh, I didn't see it coming.
That's a good point.
If they win tonight, great. There's going to be a lot from that. If they do what all of us almost universally think they're going to do, I want to see, are they in a lose-lose in multiple ways, right? Like, not just a losing of the game. Does the AD look stupid and correct what he just said publicly and fire the coach? Because, boy, we're going to have a lot of questions for that dude if he does that.
If the game gets ugly tonight, I don't know how you are not contemplating it, thinking about it, or having discussions about it.
Well, when you publicly say he's the right guy, I would also question, why are you doing that? If they lose and they get blown out or it doesn't look pretty, is there an assistant coach? Is there somebody on the staff? I mean, he came out and backed keeping the special teams guy and is like, well, you don't make in-season coach fires. That's not what you do. And I'm like, everybody in America is.
Yeah, it's happened quite often, actually.
Happens all the time, man. Yeah. Actually, that's part of the gig. Does somebody else lose their job if it's not Trent Bray? I kind of wonder. I wouldn't be shocked if he did that to no, that guy. So that's something to watch. Or do they do absolutely nothing? Do they lose by more than 2 touchdowns or the 2-touchdown mark, and it's not really feeling close, and we're moving on, and we're just falling to 0-5, and okay, we're going to go to App State, and something's going to get corrected? So they're almost in maybe a position of lose-lose if they don't outright win the game, and that's going to be troubling. We had a listener reach out to us this week, and I put this in the Magic Hat, and it's a diehard Oregon State fan. It's somebody that has communicated. It was a season ticket guy. He basically ran the idea of allowing the tickets that were not picked up and bought. Could you give those to students? This
has been my idea all week, is you got to get creative to put butts in the seats, and to have this old standard, we've always done it this way, we can't do that, is an archaic way of thinking when you are in desperation mode.
Yeah, so basically, could you offer a deal to veterans who maybe want to go to a game that don't have as many resources and make it cheaper?
Local Boys and Girls Club, give them away to whoever you want to give them away to.
And said that they basically ran this idea up the flagpole and got absolute radio silence. They got nothing, not even a comment back.
And that's from a season ticket holder who you have. If you're a season ticket holder, you have a decent relationship with your university because you're, buying the tickets and you're a valued member of the community and you're a customer and all of that. And to not even hear back it's just a bad look. And I think it sums up everything about the athletic department right now.
Yeah. So I think in a weird way, Dirt, unless they outright win,
there's no moral victories at 0-5.
Well, they're going to sit in a lose situation because somebody's going to get fired, and I don't know who it is. And we're going to have questions about both individuals, whether that's Bray firing a staff member or Barnes firing Bray. And if nothing happens at all and you fall to 0-5 with a horrific home performance with not even a half full stadium, you're going to also look absolutely ridiculous.
Where's the bottom of the barrel at that point? Because if you lose to Houston, it doesn't look pretty tonight, then you're flying all the way across the country to North Carolina to play Appalachian State next week.
When does player checkout start, right?
That's a big game for Appalachian State. How often do they get Power 5 or, former Power 5 programs coming to their campus? So I'm sure that they're all jacked up for that. It's a good opportunity for them.
Yeah.
Washington State does not seem like the layup that they seemed like at the start of the year. We'll see how the rest of their season goes. Tulsa just beat Oklahoma State on the road. You got them later in the season. This is one where you want to see a little bit more life. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, at least in a positive angle, is that I don't know how much life you can see against teams who are so much more talented than you in Texas Tech and Oregon. Houston is not that this weekend. Connor Wegman's good. He can use his legs. They're better than maybe some of the teams that they've been in years past.
Can Oregon State beat Colorado?
Colorado doesn't look like a world beater right now.
See what they do against BYU, but I wouldn't pick them.
No, I wouldn't, but
just ran all over
them. They did. It was competitive in the first half, and in the second half, it got out of hand.
We will see what they do. I kind of disagree with you. They're not Texas Tech. They are certainly not Oregon. We know that. Are they as good as Cal? Are they better than Fresno State? The problem with the Oregon State narrative for some is that we continue to act like this is such a loaded roster and that they are just infinitely more talented than half of the teams they've played. And I think it's very fair to say out loud
They're not.
No. So, like, I have no
They were more
reason-
talented than Fresno State. I would
Yes,
argue that.
I
They had
agree
more
with that.
talent, and without the special teams blunders, they win that game because they dominated every category.
They had a full week to prepare for those blunders to not be blunders, and they
it's
couldn't
not an
do
excuse,
it. So
but-
I tend to agree with that, and I am just adding.
I don't think you're more talented than Houston. I just don't think there's a massive gap the way there was the last 2 weeks. That's all I'm trying to argue.
Sure, yeah.
And maybe there ends up being. Maybe
but
they
you
lose
are
by
a
15 to 9.
touchdown home underdog.
You are, and I think a lot of that has to do with the way your season has gone and the way that their season has gone. They're 3-0, you're winless, so you're just going to get a spread that looks like that in Vegas. There's no moral victories, but at least give some fight tonight. Like, at least make this a game for anybody who is brave enough to go to a 7:30 Friday night game and stick through that thing until 11 o'clock tonight.
God bless you.
God bless them.
Seriously.
More power to you, and I
Believe.
hope your football team puts up a fight for you.
I don't have a lot left on that game. They're 0-4. Like, I don't know if they'll fall to 0-5. At this point, it's kind of becoming the same conversation week in and week out.
It's more of a lingering question. If it gets ugly tonight, like,
when's enough?
When is
Well,
what
the
are
fan
we
base
doing?
is there.
The
So,
fan
like,
base is there. I'm saying, when's the athletic department going to read the room and do something that the fan base wants for once?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see on that one.